Well, that's not gonna help anything.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is August 5th, 2020. This is episode 228. And today, do as thou wilt. And you know me, I'm your best buddy Basil.
And this is Gonz. Welcome to another live stream podcast on National Underwear Day. Got your underwear on today, Basil. This is one day you can have it on.
You know what? In my household, every day is underwear day.
Fantastic. That's good to know. So
yeah. So how about who proclaimed it National Underwear Day? What's
I don't know.
The history
Hold
of
on
this?
1 second. It says that I'm muted and I'm not seeing my audio come through on live.
Hold
on, let me check real quick.
Yep, I'm looking at the chat. Gonz, mic off. Gonz is gone.
Check.
Gonz, mic off. Can't hear Gonz. Can't gear Gonz. Gonz muted. We can't hear Gonz. Okay, guys, I get it. I see it. We're fixing it. Don't worry. We're working on it. Gonz is muted. Can't hear Gonz. No Gonz. No vocal on Gonz here. Whoa!
What was that?
I don't know if anybody else could hear that, but
I think that came through.
That
came through. What is going on?
I don't know.
All right, somebody needs to go to...
I forget that nobody else can hear you. I'm just talking and
I
listening
turned myself
to you.
off.
That doesn't make the show work.
Check.
Well, guys, at this point, you should be grateful that you can't hear Gonz because it's turned into an echoey monster from the abyss over there. Okay.
All right,
sounds
keep
like
going,
it's
keep
coming
going.
through.
No,
sounds
keep
like
going.
everybody else is hearing the monstrous noises coming from your side, Gonz.
All right,
you got
keep going.
Real echo issue going on, but that's okay. It's a lot of fun. See, we'll do it live. We're doing it live. Nothing better than troubleshooting some very catastrophic technical issues while we are live on the air. This is a good opportunity for me to show everybody my cat. So here I go. Here's a cat for everybody who's looking for something else to focus on. Currently scratching my leg very badly.
Basil, can you hear me?
So,
all right, hold on. Let me push the gain. Check. This is fantastic. Great start to the show.
There we go. You're coming through.
Hello. Can you hear me now? All right.
Yeah, you look good
go
to me.
Louder.
Yep. Go louder, Gonz. I think people will crank it up to 11, baby.
Now. Yeah, I am plus 11 on the DBs there.
Oh, perfect.
Check. Okay, now the
word
question
perfect has been put into the chat multiple times. You've done it. We've done it. We've solved the problem.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about, folks. That's teamwork. That is
man.
A lot of skill just went into that, Gonzo.
I know. I had to create a whole new channel of audio input live on OBS Streamlabs. Streamlabs kind of a buggy software there.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything exciting happened since the last show besides that incredible technical troubleshooting live on the air?
No, other than some real negative comments coming in on YouTube. Really bum me out. It normally doesn't bum me out, but for some reason this time people were just mean.
What, on the last episode?
On the last episode, yeah. They're just
yeah. I'm impressed with your strength of will to continue to read the toxic comments.
Yeah, I have a pretty thick skin when it comes to that now.
Yeah, but the problem is you can't let them know that you read it because then they're just going to keep doing it.
Keep doing it. Yeah, well, I can, ignore it too.
Yeah.
Just a matter of, time before I just shut all of them down with logic and reason.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I see you've put something in our show notes here Look, is this for the show notes on canarycrynewstalk.com, or
It's
is this
been
to
in
be
there.
read on the show?
No. It's been in there for a while now. Just a little caveat,
We are
disclaimer.
reporting the news and sharing our opinions on the issues, not endorsing the outlets of stories. For a complete list of show notes and links, please visit canarycrynewstalk.com.
Dot-ton, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a true statement.
All right. Good. Well, should we just get into it, or did you have something
do it.
to say
No.
about National Underwear Day?
No, I don't.
Okay. I'm realizing that the whole National Underwear Day conversation was just me talking into
It's just you
the
talking
abyss.
about underwear. Just you in silence, and then all of a sudden, I'm wearing underwear.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I don't know if we want to catch everybody up, but today is National Underwear Day. We are celebrating the undergarments
Are we?
that we love so much.
Sure. Okay, let's start with the Flippy update before it gets
Okay.
any more out of hand.
Let's do it.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okay, here we go. This is from richmond.com. Watch now. So we got a nice video. Researchers test. I've got a pop-up. There we go. Test drive new virus-killing robot prototype at Daily Planet Health Services in Richmond. And you got a nice video there you can play while I read this amazing article that goes, a four-wheeled robot's mechanical arm hovered over ultraviolet light over the surface of a chair in an office at the Daily Planet Health Services this past weekend. The weekend provided the real-world test drive of a semi-autonomous robot that researchers call Dingo. A University of Virginia robotics professor and fellow researchers envisioned one day the prototype will be used in airports, grocery stores, train stations, and other locations to kill viruses on surfaces. Tomonari Furukawa, a professor of mechanical and aerospace engineering at the University of Virginia, said having robots rove around decontaminating surfaces would lessen the risk of having human workers conducting manual cleanings of an infected area. Furukawa said researchers have been focusing their efforts on how to disinfect healthcare centers where the coronavirus is likely found. Part of the space at the Daily Planet on West Grace Street in downtown Richmond. It's used during the week as a COVID-19 testing center. Quote, but on the other hand, the need for decontamination exists everywhere, Furukawa said during an interview Monday at the Daily Planet. We have to start also customizing the robot not only for the healthcare environment, but also other places. Elizabeth Rourke, president of the Daily Planet's board of directors, said she had heard that the researchers needed to find a testing location for the robot. Quote, because of COVID, a lot of the larger healthcare systems, they're operating 24/7, Rourke said. I knew that while we operate 5 days a week, they could come here. They could have extended time in the clinical setting to do their testing. Dean Conte, one of the researchers developing the robot, said it was built by 8 students at Virginia Tech, where Furukawa taught robotics prior to becoming a professor at UVA. Quote, we can only test so much in a garage in Blacksburg, so we went to their COVID testing center at Daily Planet, said Conte, who is a graduate student at Virginia Tech. So we were in a real center where they do COVID tests. So we wanted to see just what the room looked like, what obstacles there would be, what challenges there might be from operating in a different room. Daily Planet operates 2 buildings, etc., etc., etc. And what we have here, Gons, following the ancestral line of keeping an eye on disembodied robot arms that are taking over. They're taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. And now they will just be wandering around, shining the light of truth to disinfect the world from the evil scourge of COVID.
Yeah, I was hoping for more, a better wheeling system. It looks kind of like, those kid wheel boxes. They should put like tank wheels on it or something to make it look more.
Ooh, that would be, yes, much more fun. You know what, Gons? I need to turn up my gain a little bit on my side.
Okay.
Because I'm having a hard time hearing myself, and I'm having a hard time getting hyped up. Check. Is this too much for you?
I'm fine. It doesn't
Does that
sound
change anything for you?
No, don't you have a master headphone volume for yourself? That's
do.
normally how that works.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that technical lesson. But I think I did it.
Okay,
if that works
good.
for you, it works for me. Okay.
Yeah, I don't hear
oh
a
my
difference
gosh,
over
I
here.
can hear myself. Oh, listen to that. Okay, so there you go, Gons. This is the next gen virus-killing robot that is, obviously going to start patrolling the streets, have these little suckers show up at your house, and decontaminate. Decontaminate.
It's when I was a kid, Short Circuit was one of my favorite movies with Johnny Number 5.
Uh-huh.
Every week, I feel like it's getting closer to that reality, and not for good. Because
No.
he's going to try to hurt everybody eventually. He's going to be all nice, and then he's going to be mean.
Yeah.
And he can read books fast.
What was I going to say? Oh, and this is not a new thing to say. It's barely important for me to say this, but, if we're coming to a world where sterilization is increasingly valued amongst the institutions and things like that. And I do fear a little bit what sort of havoc this will wreak on our immune systems. Suddenly, if there's no viruses whatsoever floating around, how will our bodies ever learn to fight for themselves?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's a lot of the sci-fi movies and stuff out there display a type of world, Andromeda Strain, what was the other one? Gattaca, a world where everyone's got to get super clean and no any kind of virus in any kind of situation. All flakes of yourself can be DNA tested, so you can't leave a trail of any kind of human hair or anything around. It's just the scientific dictatorship coming to fruition here.
Yeah, isn't that fun? Isn't that fun?
Isn't that fun?
Oh. All right, let's give some updates before we get into the big stories today.
Quick updates here.
We interrupt this broadcast to give you a brief update. By the end of this timely interruption, you will be thoroughly updated.
Now, I don't know when this was published, but this was theatlantic.com, and the headline of this, I guess it's an article. It's the COVID-19 crisis requires long and short-term planning. This supercomputer can do both.
Ooh.
Yeah, the supercomputer wasn't supposed to be in use until 2021, but the Fugaku, like everyone else, had to change its plans when COVID-19 swept the world. The Fugaku is a supercomputer in development at Riken, Japan's leading research institute, in collaboration with Fujitsu. Riken has pioneered innovation in science for more than a century, employing more than 3,000 people in Japan and overseas. Funded by the Japanese government, the institute has produced Nobel Prizes, groundbreaking scientific technology, and effective collaborations with research and business partners. Global mission. The Fugaku,
blah, 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 global mission.
The Fugaku is one of the institute's most recent breakthroughs. It was recently ranked the fastest supercomputer in the world, able to perform 415 quadrillion computations per second. But despite those striking statistics, quote, "We're not shooting for glory," says Dr. Matsuoka Satoshi. Dr. Satoshi.
Oh my gosh, we found him.
We found him. For those of you wondering what we're screaming about, the creator of Bitcoin is the anonymous Satoshi Nakamoto, or allegedly a group or individual. This man just happens to have the supercomputer scientist. It happens to be Dr. Satoshi, the director, actually, the director of Riken's Center for Computational Sciences. Rather, the Fugaku is designed to be accessible to users from a variety of disciplines and institutions, rather than highly specialized. So there you go. Japan's, moving forward with some of their supercomputing capabilities to tackle COVID-19. And the article goes on. It's very interesting because it talks about how society is never going to be the same, and we have to account for all the different changes that are going to take place to all of society, and the supercomputer is going to help us solve all those problems. So
yeah, and it's an interesting combination too when you consider that so many changes, during the explosion of AI and supercomputing it's been going on for a few years, but really has hit its peak here in the past 8 months, and is projected to continue obviously into the future. Yeah. But now the risk of COVID and COVID related, data points are going to be basically built into the core of a lot of these AI public utilities. AI is going to have control of so many things, and obviously controlled by supercomputers until we get the new fancy quantum computers in the mail. But if you think about the basis of artificial intelligence and how it's being applied to government programs, to public good type of situations, it's going to have COVID-based data points built in right from the beginning. And more than anything, when you talk about the new normal, it's one thing to have the government try to enforce some sort of new normal, socially, but it's an entirely different thing to have this quote unquote new normal built into the very fabrications of, the coding, the foundations of artificial intelligence and supercomputing that's more and more being applied to society in invisible ways, which is the crazy part. Yeah. You can't fight against the invisible hand of the algorithms that, if you do anything online, your life, and it's hard to explain this to people in a way that can fully be absorbed. I've had some conversations with various baby boomers in my life recently, and to really try to bring home the point that no, anything that you do on the internet and any device you use, all of that data is getting put into algorithms that are used to manipulate your behavior in one way or another, whether that's as innocent as advertising products that it thinks you might like, all the way down to guiding your behavior online and offline. And so, when we talk about artificial intelligence, being built on the foundations of this quote new normal, it's not just, a fun little quirk of technology. It is a life-shaping manipulative practice that is really rampant right now, and doesn't just affect your online life. Anything, all the messages that you start to receive, even subconsciously through the media you consume, and even down to the tailoring of your Facebook timeline, being obviously manipulated by algorithms to keep you on the site longer and to try to shape your perceptions of the world. That's all going to have the new normal built in. So it's not just a thing you can say, oh, not my new normal, I won't do that. You have no choice. It's going to be built into the subtle manipulations that are presented to you all day, every day, especially if you interact on a smartphone somewhere. So
yeah, and it'll be like Ultron from Marvel coming to the conclusion that humans are the virus. We must get rid of the humans. All right, so we got a couple more updates along these lines here. A couple mask updates.
If you're working alone, wear a mask. The mask's not for you. It's to protect the people you care about.
This is it's a couple weeks old. Actually, a couple months old at this point. Forbes.com, coronavirus, Japanese firm. I don't know what's up with Japan. They got giant robots, supercomputers. Now they got smart face masks that connect to phones.
Ooh, good. We need that data.
A Japanese startup has unveiled a smart face mask that connects to smartphones and lets users make calls remotely without speaking directly into their mobiles.
Whoa.
Capable of sending text messages via speech, its developer, Dona Robotics, is marketing it as a way to remain connected during the coronavirus era. Dubbed the Sea Mask, the device fits over regular fabric-based masks. It connects to an app via Bluetooth, enabling it to transcribe speech to text messages, which are then sent via the user's smartphone. It can also translate from Japanese into 8 other languages and amplify the user's voice in case they can't be heard through the mask. So there you go. The Sea Mask, translating your language.
Your
very
full
babble.
HUD display. You got your microphones in there. You got maybe some real-time translations coming new because you're going to need it for this new global society.
It's funny because it's definitely, we talk about the Tower of Babel and how the languages got dispersed and the strange attempt to bring all languages together. The ones and zeros have eradicated the barriers of language in a sense. So we're back at this Tower of Babel moment, and the computer, the technology that allows communication between people that don't speak the same language, very fascinating. And through the mask, put on the mask, and you can talk to other people. Easily.
Well, that's another consideration is if the mask is gadgety enough and improves your perception of life, going through your day, then it'll be adopted quite quickly, as we've seen with other gadgets that do similar things.
Yeah, for sure. All right, the other mask update here.
If you're working alone, wear a mask. The mask's not for you. It's to protect the people you care about.
And it's for your in-home activities as well. RT.com. Americans should start wearing face masks at home. Dr. Deborah Birx says.
Well, the big update is that Birx is saying this now.
I know. That's it. Yeah. Families sitting down to watch the evening news might soon have to wear face masks if the advice of the White House coronavirus advisor, Dr. Deborah Birx, is turned into a rule as America's disjointed war on COVID-19 continues. Birx was supposedly on Trump's side. Trump really liked her, but she's turned on him apparently, and now he tweeted out something mean about her. And I guess they're all part of the cabal, right?
Yeah. Well, there you go. She can't stray too long from the official message. She tried, but she's been brought back into the fold. And there you go. You got to wear your mask at home. Yep. No kisses.
Yep. No kisses. Barely hugs. Actually, no hugs.
No hugging.
Yeah. Elbow touches.
Yeah.
Is all you can do. And wear your mask while you're watching television at home because the television might give you Rona,
Well, I know some people who would agree with you that the television is the biggest spreader of the COVID symptoms.
So wear your goggles and masks at home watching TV.
Oh yeah, what about the goggles? You gotta wear your full diving mask.
It's just gonna be people in their underwater deep dive suits while trying to eat dinner. How do I get this in my body? Okay. We got a 33 update as well.
33 is the number of completion of the Great War.
And this was tweeted out by Ivanka Trump. And this was on August 4th, which was yesterday. Today, the Justice Department and I are announcing $35 million to 73 organizations in 33 states to provide safe plus stable housing to human trafficking survivors.
Oh, wow.
The coronavirus pandemic has made safe and supportive housing for survivors more important than ever. So interesting play here. I'm sure this is a 14D chess, Basil. The 33 signaling, but also the stable, safe housing for human trafficking survivors, because they're taking down the network. One by one, nation by nation, they're all in line with the plan, and Ivanka Trump doing the signaling there with the 33 states. I don't know. Is that a counter 33? Or is that no bad
way.
guys?
She's in it. She's in the club.
She's in the club too.
Yeah, another interesting little 33 update that I experienced was one of the videos. There are many videos of all different lengths, but the first video that I saw of the Beirut explosion was 33 seconds long.
Ooh, yeah, very interesting.
I know. So, speaking of the Beirut explosion, I think we just should get into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
It will kill.
Burn it all.
And also, what is it? This one.
Okay, everybody. Yes, we've seen the chat. We've seen it online. We've seen it everywhere. The Beirut explosion. I'm going to we're going to lay down a base level here with BBC.com, and then there's a lot more to get into, but we'll start here. Beirut explosion, port officials under house arrest as rescue efforts continue. A number of Beirut port officials are being placed under house arrest pending an investigation into Tuesday's huge explosion, Lebanon's government says. The blast killed at least 135 people and injured more than 4,000 others. A 2-week state of emergency has begun. President Michael Aoun said the blast was caused by 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate stored unsafely in a warehouse. Customs Chief Badri Daher said his agency called for the chemical to be removed, but this did not happen. No kidding. Quote, "We leave it to the experts to determine the reasons," he said. Ammonium nitrate is used as a fertilizer in agriculture and as an explosive. Opening an emergency cabinet meeting on Wednesday, President Aoun said, quote, "No words can describe the horror that has hit Beirut last night, turning it into a disaster-stricken city." Specialists at the University of Sheffield in the UK estimate that the blast had about 1/10 of the explosive power of the atomic bomb dropped on the Japanese city of Hiroshima during World War II, and was, quote, "unquestionably one of the biggest non-nuclear explosions in history." Wow. What triggered the explosion? The ammonium nitrate had reportedly been in a warehouse in Beirut port for 6 years after it was unloaded from a ship impounded in 2013. The head of Beirut port and the head of the customs authority both told the local media that they had written to the judiciary several times asking that the chemical be exported or sold on to ensure port safety. Port General Manager Hassan Koraitem told OTV that they had been aware that the material was dangerous when a court first ordered it stored in the warehouse, but not to this degree. Lebanon's Supreme Defense Council has vowed that those found responsible will face the maximum punishment possible. Economy Minister Raoul Nemi told the BBC, quote, "I think it is incompetence and really bad management, and there are a lot of responsibilities from management and probably previous governments. We do not intend, after such an explosion, to stay silent on who is responsible for what. House arrest would apply for all port officials who have handled the affairs of storing the ammonium nitrate, guarding it, and handling its paperwork since June 2014, Information Minister Manal Abdel Samad said. The ammonium nitrate arrived on a Moldovan-flagged ship, the Rosas, which entered Beirut port after suffering technical problems during its voyage from Georgia to Mozambique, according to shiparrested.com. Shiparrested.com. I should check that out, which deals with shipping-related legal cases. The Rosas was inspected, banned from leaving, and was shortly afterwards abandoned by its owners, sparking several legal claims. Its cargo was stored in a port warehouse for safety reasons, the report said. And then they're very sneaky on the BBC website. They kind of phase into other articles, but let's just see what they have to say. What is the nope. Another attempt to dodge the blame. Volunteers have poured onto the streets of Beirut to help clear up the devastation, while others have been visiting the worst affected areas in a state of shock. The government has been promising a full and transparent investigation and told the military to put those responsible for storing the vast quantity of ammonium nitrate under house arrest, but Beirutis have been unimpressed, seeing it as another attempt by the political elite to dodge the blame for disaster. Instead, they are demanding full accountability. Many on social media have welcomed the generosity of those offering to help from around the world, but have asked people to avoid making any donations through the government, which they now regard as terminally corrupt and incompetent. Wow. Then they go into the rescue efforts. I think that's a good place to stop there. Let's see. Well, let's do this. What is the background? The explosion comes at a sensitive time for Lebanon, with COVID-19 infections on the rise. Hospitals were already struggling to cope. Now they are faced with treating thousands of injured people. The country is also going through the worst economic crisis since 1975 through 1990 civil war, and tensions were already high with street demonstrations against the government. People have to deal with daily power cuts, a lack of safe drinking water, and limited public health care. Lebanon imports most of its food, and large quantities of grains stored in the port have been destroyed, causing fears of widespread food insecurity to come. The future of the port itself is in doubt due to the destruction caused. President Aoun announced that the government would release 100 billion lira, that's about $66 million, of emergency funds, but the impact of the blast on the economy is expected to be long-lasting. The explosion happened close to the scene of a huge car bombing, which killed former Prime Minister Rafik Hariri in 2005. A verdict in that trial of 4 men accused of orchestrating the attack was due on Friday at a special court in the Netherlands, but this has been postponed until 18th of August out of respect for the victims of Tuesday's blast. So there you go. A lot of stuff in there, especially considering the background where they were having similar upheaval or civil unrest due to the already corrupt government, and with food shortages already going on, an economic crisis, plus COVID-19. We'll get into it a little more, but it sounds like a very convenient time for something like this to be happening. And those who will benefit from this are those precise government elites that people were protesting against right before.
Yeah, a couple things come to mind here. First off, if there was any Rona in the area, it might have been wiped out. So if there's whatever.
Silver lining,
literally. But the other thing is, and I know people talk about Bible prophecy, and especially people that listen to our show are versed in some of Bible prophecy passages and stuff. And I've seen some people bring up this as a potential connection. It's hard for me to say that this is a direct connection, but Isaiah 17 talks about the Damascus being in a ruinous heap. Isaiah 17:1, this is a burden against Damascus. Behold, Damascus is no longer a city. It has become a heap of ruins. That's the Berean Study Bible translation. And Damascus is about 60 miles from this port here. So it's not too far away, although, and again, it's too far away, I think, to have any kind of true 1-to-1 ratio type of fulfillment of any kind. But yeah, it's up the coast from Sidon. And, there's a lot of historical things there with, if you look at the Bible and just that general area. So, it's just something to bring up. Obviously, it's not in the same location, several miles away, but pretty close, fairly close to a lot of the historical things there. And that's number one. Number two being that my suspicions always, of course, when this type of thing happens, is that this wasn't an accident whatsoever. And
the timing is so specific,
it's very
especially
suspicious.
With the outcome of the assassination of the former prime minister, supposed to be announced in 2 days. And of course, this happens right before. A couple of things to note before we get into the theories surrounding this. One of them being, in that BBC article, they mentioned that it was 0.2% of the power of the Hiroshima bomb. I took this off of another article that I do not have in front of me, but it says ammonium nitrate is mostly utilized in fertilizers. It has the RE factor of 1 over 0.74 compared to TNT, meaning the explosion likely had a yield of 2 kilotons of TNT equivalent, effectively the yield of a tactical nuclear warhead. And for those who don't know, tactical nuclear warheads are a very disputed weapons class that has not been put in use yet, but has been under research, especially by the US, but also Russia and other nuclear capable countries, to create what's called a tactical nuclear device. And the tactical part of it, meaning it's just slightly smaller than a nuke. Well, it's significantly smaller than a nuke, but can be packaged in a very small package and is used for much more tactical, precise strikes rather than, totally incinerating a 50-mile radius. You can, have a much smaller blast area, but you're able to take out more specific targets without harming, without turning 50 miles of the Lebanon countryside into a glass parking lot.
Right.
So that was suspicious. Now, with tactical nukes in general, they're very disputed within those, with the power to dispute them, because the danger is if you have a tactical nuclear warhead that is a little bit more contained and you can be a little bit more precise with the destruction, the temptation to actually use it would be much higher. And, in a world where we're trying to avoid any sort of nuclear conflict, because that can escalate quite quickly, the debate about whether to use tactical nuclear weapons, rages on, because part of it is considered a very slippery slope where once you use one tactical nuclear warhead, it's just, you go back and forth in responses. They're just going to get more and more powerful, and that'll eventually lead to, conventional nuclear missiles being used. Right. So that was one aspect of this that was, just kind of strange. The other one being, that ammonium nitrate obviously being very suspiciously parked there in the warehouse for 6 or 7 years after being confiscated, off of that ship that was abandoned, and 3,000 tons of ammonium nitrate and a ship and everything being abandoned by its former owners is suspicious in its own right. Oh shoot, how are we going to get all these explosives into Lebanon? Well, we'll just bring it there and they'll take it away from us, and there it is. It's right where we wanted it to be, being a possible issue, or a possible theory connected to this. And I'm sure there will be some more stuff uncovered. But yeah, so there you go. Oh, and what was not mentioned in the BBC article, but was mentioned other places, and you can actually see it in the video, was allegedly the fire started in a warehouse, or the warehouse that was storing a big cache of fireworks. So you can see in the videos, it starts out as a firework warehouse party, and there's actually fireworks going off for a while. And you can see, the explosions of different colors and the sort of streamies and sparklies of, very obviously fireworks, which then led to the ammonium nitrate being ignited an interesting thing about ammonium nitrate, it is not very combustible on its own. It's, if you just have pure ammonium nitrate, you don't get the type of explosion that you would be looking for if you are using it for explosive purposes. Ammonium nitrate actually needs to be mixed with some sort of fuel to make it explosive and not just simply flammable. So that brings up questions. Did the ammonium nitrate get mixed with some sort of fuel in the firework fire, or was it pre-mixed in a way that, maybe that's why it was confiscated, because it was obviously for explosive purposes.
Oh, he froze. He's talking too much. Are you still there? Uh-oh. Basil froze again. This is happening every single episode that we've done in the last, a few weeks here, or few episodes anyway. Hello?
Hi. This is happening way too often.
Yeah, it's usually when you go on long rants.
Where did you lose me?
I don't know, maybe 30 seconds ago.
Well, what did I say?
I was not paying attention anymore.
Oh my gosh.
You were going on like point number 6 or something. And
did I talk about the ammonium nitrate and the mixtures required?
Yeah, you were. I think you were talking about that.
Okay,
give
so
me
I'll
back
finish
your video.
it out real quick.
Give me your video.
Let me just finish it up.
Okay, give me video.
Oh, give you video. Yeah. Okay, I'll give you video. Here's some video.
There he is.
Okay, so shoot, I don't know where I got dropped off. But the point being that ammonium nitrate needs a mixture of some sort of fuel to become explosive in the way that we see it here. And whether or not that, mixture, some other type of fuel had to get mixed in, or else we would not have seen that type of explosion. Whether or not, the fireworks fire brought in, maybe contaminated the ammonium nitrate in the process of the fire, or it was pre-mixed and maybe that's why it was confiscated by the government. There's a lot of questions regarding, where did the mixture of fuel into the ammonium nitrate happen to cause it to be the explosive weapon that it was. And then one last observation with the fireworks part of it was, I just mentioned how I watched V for Vendetta the other day, which, there was some talk on the Canary Cry community about how V for Vendetta is chock full of Gnostic and mystery religion type of stuff. And I get that. It's a Hollywood movie. I'm not saying build a religion around it. I'm just saying I watched it and has some eerie connections to what's going on now. But within V for Vendetta, every time the guy, V, the main character, would blow something up, mostly government buildings, he would also set off fireworks within the explosion. Mm-hmm. So it had a weird connection to the movie that I just, went on a rant about before, mixing a very harmful explosion with fireworks as sort of a messaging in V for Vendetta's case, it was supposed to be a celebration of the destruction of government buildings. And it's just very odd to then have a giant explosion mixed with fireworks in one of the most explosive non-nuclear instances in history.
Yep. And people were pointing out in the chat, and also should mention, it happened to be Barack Obama's birthday yesterday. August 4th, 1961. Well,
that's not going to help anything.
No, it's not. And also, just to add mystery to the whole thing, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the nukes that were dropped in Japan in 1945, August 6th and 9th. So something about this week seems to be a particular liking for those into some kind of numerological alignment with this type of event. Just to point out.
Yeah, and you gotta know that the Lebanese people are definitely not buying this official story, given the mistrust of their government they already had, and the economic troubles and everything, and coming up on the justice being served for the assassination of their previous prime minister, and suddenly this happens. It's right, and it's a suspicious time for the Lebanese people.
And I think. I don't know if you read it in the article, but somebody, maybe it was the Lebanese was the prime minister there? Somebody said that it was an attack. And also President Trump also suggested that it was an attack.
Yeah.
And
but
of course, what?
Someone in the Facebook chat in all caps. So I don't know if they're being satirical or not, but they say, quit being so quick to find a conspiracy. The prime minister has said it was a major F up on the part of the harbor. Oh, well, if the prime minister says it, then it must be true.
Right. Well, yeah, there you go. They got people in custody too. The port officials or whatever in custody. But yeah, one of the things that should definitely give away some of the what might be going on here. I think the New York Times published a headline that said, calling it an attack is very hasty. Trump bad.
Sure.
So there's one point of reference there, but also, yeah, let's get to the theory here that this was something of a directed energy weapon, and there are people showing the footage, and it's hard to say because if you slow down the footage, there's different angles and stuff. There is a large flash that seems to come in like a column right before the big explosion. But it could just be a firework, right? But that's the thing. There's a little bit of plausible deniability with fireworks there as a convenient thing to have been the reason for the fire to begin with.
Uh-huh.
But I wanted to look into some of the official documentation that's out there on directed energy weapons, or at least publicly in the military and stuff. And what I found was pretty interesting because I hadn't visited the Lockheed Martin website in a while, but they have a whole page here, lockheedmartin.com, capabilities, directed energy. And the title of this little page here, New Age Threats Require New Age Defenses. And remember what Trump said. If I can find the jingle, where is it?
We will launch a new age.
Right? So obviously, New Age threats, New Age defenses.
We're going to launch the New Age.
We're launching the New Age, right? Okay. And on this website, again, this is Lockheed Martin. Directed energy technology has advanced from the lab and is now ready for the field. Laser weapons provide the advantage of speed, flexibility, precision, and lower cost per engagement that are only possible with lasers. Directed energy operates as a force multiplier, enabling the warfighter to counter a growing range of emerging threats. And here's the big one. Invisible detection, surprise engagement. And of course, the footage here is an airplane, just kind of shooting down the beam on a car. The car has no idea, and now you got a big old hole in the car from the directed energy weapon. Yeah. And that's sort of the public consumption of this type of technology, how it's used. But if we're talking about other higher up things on the firmament there, it's possible that they are very much capable of doing something like this, knowing that there's something of what was it, ammonium nitrate that's been sitting there allegedly for 6 years without any kind of protection or any plan to get rid of it next to a firework building or whatever. Just very, very convenient to have all of this there, and very easy to have somebody that's invisible, or a group of people invisibly engaging in some kind of attack where you can just heat up the area until it goes boom. The website here continues on. In the air, land, or sea, covert capabilities of the laser enable cause and effect without visual signs of detection.
Ooh, wow.
So, I mean, it's telling us right here on the Lockheed Martin site.
Basically bragging how you can set off chaos and fires and explosions and nobody will know.
Yeah, nobody will know, and you can do it without detection. Revolutionary technology, deep magazine, low cost per engagement, speed of light delivery, adaptive optics, beam control. Again, this is all the public stuff.
Yeah.
And so that when I think about what this possibly could be, we talked about weather weapons in the last episode and how weather warfare has probably been happening for a while now in terms of changing the atmosphere, changing storms, and even if it's not a direct control type of thing, at least to mess it up or at least change things to affect things. And now even the 9/11 attacks, people have been suspicious about, hey, was this some kind of directed energy weaponry? When you have cars on the streets right after the attacks, half the car is completely singed and the other half is totally fine.
Right.
Well, what happened here? And if it wasn't some kind of directed energy situation, I was going to pull up the footage from 2001 where a reporter, maybe it was a little later, maybe it was like 2002. There was a reporter that asked, I think it was the Secretary of Defense at the time, if they had these weapons, these advanced weaponry that could have been used or deployed for 9/11. And he kind of looked very uncomfortable, like, oh yeah, we're still in the stages of development, and we wouldn't unleash that type of technology without knowing its capabilities, and He kind of danced around it. Right. But interesting to think back to, because those were the days when, at the very least, these journalists can ask like legitimate questions, or what appear to be a little more legitimate questions than today. And today you're just not going to get that kind of anything in any kind of press conference with a president or any kind of political leader. But, just keeping in mind that this is a very capable type of technology and could very well be responsible for what we saw in Beirut. And, prayers out to those people that are without homes, 300,000 people homeless. And I think it's under 100, the death count, but I'm sure they're going to find more. And, all that footage. And, this is the other thing that's really fascinating about this event, is that there's a lot of footage all over the internet.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of 9/11, much less so. But, you just happened to have a number of people with cameras pointing in that direction. Now, of course, 20 years later, 19 years later, many more cameras everybody has. A lot more. And so there is angles on angles on angles of this stuff.
Oops, sorry about that.
Yeah. Do you got the bride one? That one was very interesting.
Yeah, I was
just
try
as
to
an
find
artistic thing to show here.
Yeah, I'll get to it. This is the after. I'm showing the aftermath. It's very apocalyptic. I mean, just literally any kind of apocalyptic movie. If they're planning on filming it, they should just go to Beirut and film it. Because they have it here, the real life thing.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, just cars flipped over, the whole deal. Let me try to find the bride one. But go ahead. You were saying something else there about the situation with the cameras.
Yeah, no. Oh, the camera. Yeah, I mean, it's just surprising how many angles of the actual explosion there were. But now, you keep in mind that there was a big fire beforehand, so it makes sense people were busting out their cameras to film it.
Well, that's the thing. That's what's weird, though. Like it's almost like egging people to film it. Like have this fire burst out, egg people to, what's going on? What's going on?
Well, I think people, I mean,
in general, people are going to film it.
If there's a giant fire, you're going to film it if you can see it. I did see some screen grabs, some screenshots. People were trying to say that there were some jets that flew overhead and there were some flying things that looked Photoshopped to me, but I don't know. I haven't done any forensics on it yet. But in any of the videos, I was unable. I watched maybe about a dozen different videos, and I could not see the jets fly over. So I don't know if you saw one like that, but
no, I didn't see any jets. Although again, they don't have to be directly above it. That's the thing. They can kind of be in range.
That's what I was saying. Like it just didn't make sense. But
right. So here's I'm showing the footage here of the wedding, or the wedding photos. It's the camera moving in, a close up shot on the bride, doing a sweeping shot of the dress, and all of a sudden, boom. Yeah. Cameraman runs to a wall.
Very dramatic. Very dramatic. It was sort of a poetic image of it, but pretty incredible sight to see just how quickly, it was in a millisecond. It went from a normal peaceful day to suddenly everything, all windows blown out, buildings collapsing, just total chaos in the blink of an eye.
Yeah. And then I guess I'm looking here. I just mentioned how that death toll is under 100. Apparently, it's 135 now. So I'm sure we're going to get a lot more.
Yeah, it's going to continue to rise as these things do, as they find more casualties and things like that, and people who are injured.
The other weird timing thing with the whole thing, and you were talking about V for Vendetta. I was watching more of The Travelers that I talked about in the last episode. And I'm halfway through the final season that they have there, season 3. And nukes going off, big explosions going off everywhere. I was just watching that yesterday, and then I flip on Twitter and then actual explosions going off. Just weird. Yeah. But so that's kind of the theory here that again, no hard evidence. And that's the thing. You can't have hard evidence that it was a directed energy weapon.
That's the whole point.
But I don't think it's completely out of the question to wonder and wonder at a level that's not just crazy conspiracy theory, but at a level that's like, okay, they're very capable of doing something like this. And happy birthday, Barack, I guess.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, sounds good. Given the timing we have today, Gon, should we take a little break?
Let's do a quick break, and we got a couple more stories. Break time.
All right, everybody, don't go anywhere. We're just going to take a quick break to thank some of our producers and followers. But after the break, we've got some COVID psyop talk, some more dealing with conspiracy theorists. What is the word I'm looking for? Literature going out to the masses. Also, a little update on the TikTok issue, obviously a big national security issue. And then if we get to it, we might have to save the George Floyd stuff till Friday, depending on what the time looks like. But we'll go quick here and make it work. All right. You ready?
Yep, let's do it. New Twitchers.
New Twitchers. Here we go. Big thank you to the people who follow us on Twitch. Because we request it and it helps us out more than following us on YouTube or any other place. So we want to thank these people. So gosh, the drama continues with our new Twitch follower, Basil's actual wife.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow! People
the
just
never-ending soap opera that is the Twitch
chat. I like how you kind of stay out of it too. You let them. You're like this evil genius that allows people to kill each other.
I'm doing a show. I'm working. I can't engage with such madness while I'm working. So Basil's actual wife. Wow, I did not know. I don't know who you are, but
they
thanks
just
for
said
being
that's
here.
right, honey, in the chat.
Oh gosh. It's and just kind of to give some context for those who don't watch live, we still have thousands of people who listen to the podcast version.
Yeah.
So when in the Twitch chat, it's not just the fight over my heart and my my wedded bliss,
physical property.
Yes. That happens every show. Of course, that also happens. But of course, we have William Steele, we got Creepy Uncle Joe, we got Jeff Bezos RFID chips for sale. We have a lot of famous people who follow us on Twitch, and I love it because every show in the Twitch chat, it's like, everybody's playing the role of their name. Flippy Bots cooking people burgers all show. Bill Gates keeps trying to sell everybody vaccines. It's a whole nother experience, a whole nother layer. It's like a gamified role-playing layer that happens right underneath the show. That is, it can be quite distracting at times, but it's fun. Oh gosh. Jay Vela, one of our talented artist producers, says Basil can't have any scandals. You never know. He might want to run for mayor or governor one day. Can't have scandals. That's right.
People are going to pull up the Canary Cry chat. You had multiple wives at one point.
Yes, and of course, William Steele talking about how he's going to go steal more jewels. Okay, moving on to thank more people. Dayun's lover. Okay, thanks for following us. We got Expat in Palawan. Ooh. Cool. iFisher. iFisher Surrender Radio. Interesting. Thanks for being here. Condley. That's right. Shoefly. I am Whilst.
Okay.
Or Will Street? Whilst? Until he returns. Until he returns.
Like it. It's a good name.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. I think that's the last one. I don't know. Did I read Limanzadegi? No,
I don't know.
There you go.
I can't keep up with these names.
Limanzadegi and C.M. Kamorve. All right, there we go. Oh, one more. It is time for change. Booyah. There we go. Thank you to all of our new Twitch followers. It helps out quite a bit. And if you're not already doing it, we would request that more people watch live on Twitch. That helps us reach our goals and helps the algorithms quite a bit. A couple new followers just at the last second here. One's touched my Twitch. That's inappropriate. But thank you for following. And also Latest 1980.
Was that first one a name?
Yes, that was a name.
Wasn't sure. It was like a sentence.
Okay. Now we want to take a second and thank our producers for this show. New producers coming in. And just to remind everybody, we go off of the value for value model, which means we made a commitment long ago not to consider the listeners of this show to be commodities for us to sell to advertising agencies to, line our own pockets that way. It's a very popular way to fund podcasts nowadays. But unfortunately, what it does is it motivates content creators and podcasters to consider their listeners as products that they can then turn around and sell to advertisers for their own personal gain. And we get it. You got to figure out how to pay the bills somehow. But considering you guys commodities and just a number that we can turn around and sell to an advertiser, we just couldn't get on board with that. The advertising model is part and parcel with a lot of the problems, not just with the internet, but with the world. Very manipulative way to have money change hands and consider other human beings, children of God, as a piece of property that you guys give us your trust, you give us your attention, and to turn around and sell that to somebody else just seems wrong. So what we do is we do the value for value model, where we put out the show, we do it often, and we do it well, and then you have the opportunity to put some value back into the show if you are getting any value out of what we do. And not only does it help feed Gonza's kids and help feed my cats, but it also lets us know that we're creating some actual value in this world, which feels pretty good. And so you have an opportunity to take some ownership, because this is the real world, folks. If you help support the show financially, you're not just a donor, you are a producer of the show. This is real life, okay? We ain't playing no board game here. We're not just some kids who are I don't know what I'm getting at here. We're not LARPing. This is the real world. So thank you very much to our new producers. And first, I'm going to start over here on patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk, patreon.com/CCNT. And we got a nice, generous new producer, but their Patreon name is literally blank. Like, there's no letters or words at all. I don't know how that's possible. I don't know what's going on.
It's mysterious. It's very mysterious.
It's the most mysterious thing I've ever seen. I have no name to attach to this producer, but we have an anonymous producer. Thank you very much for your generosity and helping out the show. It means a lot. And then over on patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio, as of 2 seconds ago, there was no new producers over there. I'm going to refresh it real quick. But here's the thing. Patreon.com/CCNT is the easiest way to join up and help us out and, become a producer, take some ownership over your own media consumption. But we also, a lot of people don't like Patreon. Patreon's kind of getting into some hot water recently as well. So a great option is to go to canarycryradio.com/support.
Canary Cry Radio. Canary.com/support.
An observant person in the chat says, you know, you need to help support the many wives of Basil. Oh no,
We're gonna get in trouble.
I know.
Those guys,
so
people are gonna rattle someone's cage, and they're gonna start listening, and they're gonna be like, what are they? Why is Basil into polygamy there? Why does he have like 50 different wives?
As if I needed any other reasons to be criticized. So yes, Patreon. No. CanaryCryRadio.com/support is another great way to become a producer. We've got PayPal options, monthly subscriptions, as well as one-time donations in any amount, you know, if commitment's not your thing, which apparently it is mine with all these wives I apparently have committed to.
You're very committed to overcommitted.
And there's also cryptocurrency options. Gons, who has come in on the PayPal?
We have a few new producers from PayPal. We have Laura that came in. Thank you, producer Laura. And also Ciara. So thank you, Ciara.
Ciara, thank you very much, Ciara.
And we have a new monthly supporter from Penny.
Thank you, Penny.
Thank you, Penny. And Penny also sent us a quick note. And let's see, they said, I'm enjoying your new format since you've changed from the 30-minute version to the no agenda value for value model. And they say that they've listened to No Agenda from practically the beginning, having only donated once, mostly because they said, I try to support the Christian content creators. And they also said, I have also listened to your show, Canary Cry Radio, since the first episode.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I heard Gon's...
Got an old-timer.
Yeah, give his first interview on The View from the Bunker with Derek Gilbert. That was a long time ago, 2011.
Yeah, old school.
Yeah. And so he felt moved to support now because we have been very regular in our show days, and it's obvious how hard we are working. And he says, he or she, I can't tell.
I'm glad that's obvious.
Yeah. They said, thank you. I have often wished there was a Christian version of the No Agenda show, and you're filling the gap.
Yay!
So there you go.
That's what we were going for. I'm happy about that.
Yeah. So thank you, Penny, for your support and your producership. And those are all the people coming in on PayPal as of today.
Okay.
And we did get some snail mail.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often. We do have a P.O. box if anybody's interested. Gons, I don't know if you want to read that out loud or we should just put it on the web. It is on the website at canarycryradio.com/support.
Yes.
But sometimes people send us little gifts and fun crafts that they've made and write us letters and occasionally a check or two. But this was also some fun mail.
Yeah, we got an envelope from Old Two Box.
Yes, and, Old Two Box. I've seen them in the Twitch chat or the YouTube chat somewhere.
Yeah,
so they've been around.
Yeah, and it's really interesting how some people send checks and other people send cash. This was one of those situations where they just sent some cash. In the mail.
That's always fun. We love cash in the mail.
It was kind of, I felt like I was receiving a drug deal or something. I'll open the envelope. I'm, okay. Well, all right. Here, let's get in the car, child.
Very generous, producership from Old Two Box. And Old Two Box, if you're listening, look out for an email.
Yes. And they came with a piece of art, a drawing, cat-like readiness. It's a picture of a kitty with a cross necklace and a katana. So there's that. And he also gave us a handwritten note talking about, let's see, what a razzle-frazzle, devil's days do we be stuck in the middle of, deceived, us received, but redemption is nigh, so feel relieved. Stay focused, Gons, eyes wide open, Basil, age of deceit, I was my first, UFO, fallen angel, giants, etc. And 10 years later, I think we are here, I think. There doesn't need to be a big show like Blue Beam, but only the usual suspects of politicians, celebs, and control over social media stuff steers what appears popular. Let's all pray for the uncovering of evil and an opportunity to show and tell the whole truth. And so thank you, Old Two Box. I think Old Two Box does not want to be knighted, but we might knight you in the future.
We might knight you anyways. Well, again, look out for that email.
Yeah.
Gons, I'm on the stream right now. I don't see anything up. We just got our very nice art.
Yep.
Okay. Just
break
checking.
time. Break time.
Just
break
checking.
time.
Oh, we don't have our faces on the break time?
Well, I got to take off my mask, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to clean off your googly eyes.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, sounds good. So now, if in case you're wondering, since we have to wrap this up, holy smokes,
I know.
we also have other producers. There's other ways to produce the show. One way is creating art that we can show here on the live stream, also post in Facebook's feeds and the website and show notes and newsletters, all sorts of good stuff. And I think we can do a couple here, and we'll save a couple for next show. What do you say?
I actually have all of them ready to go, so we can just run through them real quick.
Let's do it.
So first we have Melting Man, and this was by Barbara. So thank you, Barbara. It looks like a hand-drawn. They're all hand-drawn, but pencil drawn human leaned over in kind of a crouch position, and their whole back is burning up. And I think she sent us a message.
Email. Yeah. You got the email there?
I don't have it in front of me, but yeah,
they mentioned in the email that this person is not on fire. They are dissolving into the ether because of all of the nonsense being presented to them.
Right.
So yes, very good. Very powerful imagery.
Yes. And we also got another one. Thank you for that, Barbara. We got another one from Patrick is a Monkey, or at least Patrick is a Monkey's wife. I'm 100% sure. But we got the note, and basically this was a drawing of Quilty, Flippy's grandma.
And I remember the email. Sorry, I don't have it open in front of me right now, but they explained how a while back there came, they're a quilter, very into quilting. And a while back, a quilting robot came out that's, people started using instead of hand quilting. And she's fighting, or they're fighting the good fight against Quilty. Flippy's grandma is a computerized long arm quilting machine, and then so you've got a
sewing machine,
a grandma Flippy sewing machine making a quilt, and then over in the corner you've got little old rascal Flippy who says he's social distancing from his grandma there. And if I recall, I can't quite read the hat. Are you able to read the hat on the version you have there? They said something specifically about we need to read the hat.
Okay, hold on. Let me try to zoom in here, and let's see.
I couldn't read it over the stream quality, so if you have it right in front of you, you should read it to us.
Science is truth.
Science is truth. Okay, perfect. Flippy's a Fauci fan.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I enjoyed that very much. Thank you. Who is that again?
That is Patrick is a Monkey's wife,
okay.
I think. And they have another one we'll show in another episode here. We also got one from, of course, Allie sent us a bunch.
Yes.
We'll show this one here. This one is another Flippy one. Flippy in 2033.
Ooh. And, yes. Very creepy.
Super creepy.
This was in reference to last episode where we reported on Ford's delivery robot with backwards knees, and the cat who was in a fire and got the cybernetic legs. Yeah. So we've got this creepy Flippy with 666 on his forehead. Ooh, Mark of the Beast Flippy. Yeah. And we've got the little cyborg cat on the table there. And then, of course, under the table is a real cat that looks very, very much like the new Monty 3 in the house here, attacking the spider. That was the one that gave you your spider bite last episode.
Yeah. Also, this robot has a flippy hand. One of his hands is
one's a spatula.
A spatula, yeah. So, got to look at the details. These hand drawn pictures. They really
very
get to
good.
that.
I like it, and we did get a number of good pieces from Allie. We're going to save some for next episode, strictly for time reasons. But thank you very much, Allie.
Yes, thank you,
Always
Allie.
a pleasure.
And one more here, always good, coming from Godspeed. This is another Canary Cry saga.
Yes, the new Canary Cry comic book.
Yes.
This is great. Canary Cry Saga. He was once a samurai who chose to no longer serve his earthly master and chose to serve his heavenly master. There's great animation or illustration of Gons as a Ronin. It's Ronin Gons, a little speech bubble here. I'm no longer a slave to either man nor sin. I'm only a slave now to righteousness. Very cool. Wow.
Very accurate body composition.
Of course, yes. He's got the inhumanly muscular body, just like Gons in real life.
Yes.
He's very happy to finally have an accurate illustration. Yes. Of all of his hard work.
All my hard work paying off in comic book form. So thank you, Godspeed. This is amazing. I always love these Canary Cry Saga covers. They look fantastic. I mean, it looks like it can literally be a real comic book.
Yeah, all of them could. All of his work is really, really cool. So make sure to check out the artwork. We'll put a bunch up on the Facebook. We'll put some on canarycrynewstalk.com. Check out the show notes. You can. Everybody needs to get some eyes on these pieces of art.
Yes.
Very good.
Cool. We also have, we got to do a couple of these. We have a couple jingles. I know we're taking forever. But this is a big one. We got jingles that came in. We got one that came in a while ago. I didn't get to this one. It was in the Google Drive that I had problems accessing, but I got to it.
Okay.
It was from Jimmy. He did a Nephilim update old film style. So here's that.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of the Nephilim, my dear?
What's a Nephilim?
Why, they're found in Genesis chapter 6.
You reached chapter 6?
Kind of quiet, but I think people can hear.
That's good. I like it. That's fun.
Yeah, so there's that. And so thank you, Jimmy, for that one. I like it. I like the old style, kind of old film feel. And then Jesse sent us the Googly Eyes theme. And this is a throwback for me. I don't know if you were around in the early 90s, Basil, listening to some hip hop, but he took one of the old hip hop classics and inserted a clip from you. And we have this masterpiece here.
You got big googly eyes on.
I like them round and big.
Wow. And thank you for, speeding up and slowing down different portions of that song. Hopefully we will not get a copyright strike.
I don't think we will for that one.
I got big googly eyes on. I
like them round and big. There you go. Okay.
That's very good.
All right, that's it.
Let's see. Real quick, before we jump back into the show, Annie Onimus in Twitch chat says their wife is going to make us some blankets, Guns. So we got to tell them our favorite colors. Send us an email. Email us at canarycryradio@gmail.com. We would love to give you our favorite colors.
You don't want to tell them over the air because yours
back
is...
to the... What?
Nothing, never mind. Okay, let's go
I'm
back.
trying to get this show going here.
I know,
Let's
sorry.
wake up, Guns.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Okay,
All
we're
right.
going to start out here. We're just going to run pretty quickly through the next couple stories because, Guns, you've got to go somewhere. I'm over here on CNN.com, and the article is titled COVID-19 Conspiracy Theories, 6 Tips on How to Engage Anti-Vaxxers. That's right. Okay, we we think it's important. Why do we read this type of stuff? We think it's important to keep an eye on how, people with differing views than the official stories are being portrayed in the media, not just for fun or self-deprecation, but because we need to know what people are being told about the fringy type people. And CNN has been giving people lessons, as well as Vice and other places, on how to interact with those crazy people who don't believe what they hear on the news.
And this is just to mention, this is in the health section of CNN, by the way. And the last update was on 3:22 a.m. 3:22. Skull and Bones.
This morning, yesterday morning,
Skull and Bones.
3:22 a.m. We're on to you. We're on to you, CNN Health.
Yeah.
The article reads, with prospects of COVID-19 vaccine looking up, attention is also turning to the problem of anti-vax ideas. According to a recent survey, 1 in 6 Britons would refuse a COVID-19 vaccine when it comes available. Although vaccine hesitancy is a complex problem with multiple causes, the number of conspiracy theories circulating about the coronavirus do not help. The fight against COVID-19 related conspiracy theories will be fought on multiple fronts. It requires a broad public health campaign and for social media companies to control the spread of disinformation. But all of us can play a part in this effort. Most people will know someone who has succumbed to conspiracy theories about the current crisis. We have succumbed. I have been researching conspiracy theories for over 2 decades and have spoken to many believers. Here are the 6 rules I use for talking to conspiracy theorists in the effort to change their mind. Here you go. Keep an eye out. See if you can spot anybody using these tactics on you. Acknowledge the scale of the task. Talking to people who endorse conspiracy theories is inherently difficult. Simply laying out evidence or pointing out logical contradictions in the conspiracist argument is seldom enough. Conspiracy theories are, by definition, irrefutable. I don't know about that, but okay.
Yeah, okay.
Lack of evidence of a conspiracy or positive proof against its existence is taken by believers as evidence of the craftiness of those behind the plot and their ability to dupe the public. So arm yourself with patience and be prepared to fail. Yes.
Tip number 1, go ahead and fail. Just fail at your attempt to convince them.
And it's interesting because, of course, yes, the origins of quote unquote evidence need to, are one of the biggest things to take into question.
Yeah.
If somebody is coming at you with an official story, kind of like the person in the Facebook chat today who said, well, the prime minister said it was this. So why are you being a conspiracy theorist? Well, exactly because the prime minister said that. He has nothing but gain to get from convincing people of the official story.
Yeah, it's a question of epistemology.
Right.
Look that up if you don't know what that is. But yeah, it's the
okay. Number
source
2,
of knowledge.
Recognize the emotional dimension. Conspiracy theories seduce, not so much through the power of argument, but through the intensity of passions that they stir. Underpinning conspiracy theories are feelings of resentment, indignation, and disenchantment about the world. They are stories about good and evil as much as they are about what is true. Okay, I'm not gonna argue with that too much. This gives conspiracy theories. Yes, it is a story about good and evil.
What's funny is kind of like his argument against them are good arguments for them,
Yeah, I know.
It's like, yeah, of course. Yeah. Anyway, go on.
All right. This gives conspiracy theories a strong emotional dimension. Tempers can flare and conversations turn into a shouting match. It is important to prevent this from happening. Be prepared to de-escalate the situation and keep the dialogue going without necessarily giving ground. Ooh, okay, cool.
All right,
Number 3, find out what they actually believe. Before trying to persuade someone, find out the nature and content of his beliefs. Of course, it has to be a his.
Yeah, his.
That's sexist. There's
very
female
sexist.
Conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, canceled. Cancel this author.
When it comes to conspiracy theories, the world is not divided into believers and skeptics. There's a lot in between. I'll agree with that. A minority of committed believers treat conspiracy theories as the literal truth and are particularly resistant to persuasion. Many others might not see themselves as believers, but are willing to accept that conspiracy theorists might be onto something and are at least asking the right questions. Establishing the precise nature and extent of someone's belief will enable you to better tailor your response. Also, try and find out what specific conspiracy theory they endorse. Is it 5G or Bill Gates that they think is behind the coronavirus, or both? What videos or sites have they looked at? Once you find out, gather as much disconfirming evidence as you can from credible sources, including multiple independent fact-checking websites. Okay. Yeah, this is not going to work for this person.
No, it's not.
Background research will help you focus the discussion on the substance of the claims. Never question someone's intelligence or moral sense, as this is the quickest way to end a conversation. That is true. Very, very insightful of you. Establish common ground. One of the main problems with conspiracy theories is that they are not confined to tinfoil hat-wearing kooks or political extremists. In times of crisis and uncertainty, they can contaminate the worldview of otherwise reasonable people. Oh, so they're admitting that we're reasonable. That's good to know. Conspiracy theories make reality seem less chaotic and tap into broader, often well-grounded concerns about the world, such as the concentration of financial and political power. Yeah. Mass surveillance. Yeah. Inequality or lack of political transparency. Yeah. Of course. Okay, great. So when talking about conspiracy theories, start by acknowledging these broader concerns and restrict your discussion to whether conspiracy theories can provide an adequate or meaningful answer. Okay, I feel like I would do okay in a conversation with somebody using these tactics so far. Many people come to conspiracy theories through genuine, albeit misguided, curiosity about how to make sense of the world. They sometimes see themselves as healthy skeptics and self-taught researchers into complex issues. Avoid criticizing or mocking this. Instead, present it as something that, in principle, you value and share. Yeah, good. You should value and share that. That's the whole point. Your aim, after all, is not to make them less curious or skeptical, but to change what they are curious about or skeptical of. Ooh, we must change them. Conspiracy theories often sound convincing because they start with the detailed exposition of credible scientific or historical facts. The problem is these facts and arguments lead to extraordinary conclusions. The kernels of truth on which conspiracy theories are based are solid starting point for a discussion. Agreement on at least some of these facts will allow you to focus on the leap of imagination that allows 2 and 2 make 5. You know, it's interesting. You could almost just change the title of this article to say, how to talk to your mainstream media obsessed and brainwashed friends. Yeah. It's like almost the exact opposite. Or you could switch those roles rather easily. Number 5, challenge the facts, value their argument. Debunking conspiracy theories requires 2-pronged approach. The first involves challenging evidence and its origins. Again, that's what we would do if talking to a non-conspiracy person. Address specific claims and discuss what constitutes a credible source. Okay, check. Offer to look at the evidence together, including on fact-checking websites. Okay. If you are talking to a staunch believer, he again, so sexist. Yeah. He probably won't even engage with you on this, but if he has not yet fallen down the rabbit hole, he might. And this might lead him to start questioning his views. Come on. I'm sorry, all of our female listeners. You're being taken for granted here. The second approach involves challenging the relevance and value of the conspiracist case more generally. You may want to point out throughout history, conspiracy theories have come up short. What? There's also some historical conspiracy theories that continually prove themselves to be true. But
a lot of history is built on conspiracies.
It's not like we were talking about Jeffrey Epstein in 2015 being called crazy. But moving on. For instance, the long-standing claims by AIDS denialists that antiretroviral drugs are more harmful than HIV were not only disproven, but they contributed to hundreds of thousands of deaths in sub-Saharan Africa. More recent and similarly baseless theories about the polio vaccine causing sterility directly led to the disease resurging in Nigeria, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. I don't know if that has anything to do with us, but okay. And also, okay, there's just too much to get into here. COVID-19 related claims are in the same genre. Setting these conspiracy theories in their historical context can demonstrate that they offer nothing new and don't ask the right questions about the pandemic and its causes. This might just encourage the person to direct their curiosity and skepticism to a more worthwhile concerns. Yeah, because, getting the truth about a global pandemic and the cause and origin of the disease is not a worthwhile concern, apparently. Okay, last one, 6. Finally, be realistic. There is, of course, no guarantee that this advice will be effective. There are no incontestable arguments or fail-proof strategies that will always convert a conspiracy theorists to skepticism. I don't like this dichotomy they're setting up of conspiracy theorist to skepticism, because I think inherently conspiracy theorists are skeptics at their very core. They're just not skeptics of the same thing you're skeptical of. Yeah. Conspiracy theorists are skeptical of absolute authority of other human beings in communicating the truth when they have
like CNN.
So much gain to, so much to gain by, having you not be skeptical of their story. Continuing. Therefore, set realistic expectations. The aim of talking to a conspiracy theorist is not to convert them, thank you, but to sow doubt about an argument and hopefully enable them to gradually build up resistance to its seductive appeal. So there you go, Gons. There's your 6 tips to talking to a MSM brainwashed normie. Wait, sorry, opposite of that.
Your crazy conspiracy theorist uncle. Their definition of conspiracy theorist, this is what always happens with these mainstream outlets. They just generalize everybody. And I know they tried to kind of address it, like find out what kind of conspiracy theorist your person you're talking to is. But in general, there's this broad stroke being made that if you believe that, the JFK story isn't true or that vaccines aren't legitimate, then you must also believe that aliens built the pyramids and, just everything is just one big question, one big crazy. And that's just not the case. And so it's just
the same strategy. It's a straw man strategy is what it is. Oh, if you don't believe the official story about the Beirut explosion, you must think that, Trump is a lizard person, which I'm not saying he's not, but to assume that the same person would believe both things just because they believe one is a logical fallacy. And so they're teaching people to operate on logical fallacies to try to convince people.
Well, the funny thing too is that you can use the tactics suggested here and question everything about this post. Like the author of the post, the outlet, like, okay, do we trust it? The history of CNN, not great. And especially recently, people are less trustworthy of an outlet like CNN. And just in general, you can use all of this against them and you will have probably a better argument for what they label conspiracy theorists are suggesting.
Believe your TV.
Yeah, believe your TV, believe your authority. And I was looking at some of these links that they were connecting it to. They were conversation article. Yeah, they got their own rabbit hole of a web of confusion. Yeah. And it's the same. It was another article written by the same author, I think. The senior lecturer in psychology, the Open University, Jovan Byford, I think is the author of this article. So he's just linking to his old articles, hey, like this or, example or that example. It's like,
so he's obviously showing his own, he has a lot to gain by having you check out his other articles that he's written so he can get paid more by CNN to continue linking a web of his own articles.
Right.
So, I don't know, man. Anyways, there you go. Keep an eye out for it. That's what they're saying about you folks. So
yeah, and it plays into that.
Be skeptical.
Yeah, be skeptical of the skeptics.
And, you know, we do it on this show all the time. A lot of times there are conspiracies floating around, and disinfo and misinfo in the conspiracy world is a big risk. You know, you gotta, you know, get in there, dig in and figure out which conspiracy theories, you know, have some legitimacy and which ones are, you know, crafted or misrepresented in order for a lot of different things, whether it's to, you know, see who they can get to jump on the crazy train or to use to discredit the community.
Right. There's something called the COINTELPRO, which is an operation, a real operation that took place, and I believe still takes place, to discredit anybody who is questioning the official narrative. And the way they do that is they basically get someone to pose as if they are a conspiracy theorist. And they put out lies that would appeal to the skeptic or the conspiracy theorist to kind of take him off the trail of the hunt. You know, and a prime example of this, in my video on YouTube got deleted for it, was the whole George Floyd thing, and people, on Twitter and social media saying, "Hey, I looked at the footage. The guy in the footage doesn't have a chest tattoo. Look at that." And all the evidence being used was like the most grainy, footage that you can find of and there was very clear footage that showed, no, he did have the chest tattoo. So my point in my video was, hey, watch out for these guys trying to give you a talking point that can easily be debunked by just looking at the footage that's publicly available, because it's not going to help the argument. You can question the whole situation without believing that he had a tattoo or didn't have a tattoo. It's irrelevant to the actual questioning of the narrative. But if you're going to be taken off into this direction of, hey, he didn't have a chest tattoo, well, a skeptical person is going to go look at the footage and say, it's pretty clear he had the chest tattoo. You're crazy. You're a crazy conspiracy theorist. And it's a way to discredit those who would be appealed or those who would tend to question things. It takes them off the hunt. It's like a distraction. And so that is definitely out there. So that's why, it's important to be vigilant and watchful and make sure that, whatever you're peddling out there, because what happens, the parroting happens in the world of conspiracy. I was talking back and forth with somebody in the comments on the YouTube channel recently who was a big QAnon guy, and he was just parroting everything that the QAnon people that are out there making podcasts and YouTube videos, just parroting everything. And it's like, well, you're, and I'll think for yourself. It's about consciousness and the pineal gland and all this stuff. It's like, what, we haven't heard about this for years? I mean, come up with something new if you're going to try to, tear down the person that believes in Jesus. But anyway, getting on my high horse there. But.
And Sky Scourge Broadcasting is bringing up the Smith-Mundt Act.
Oh, yeah.
That was repealed during the Obama administration.
Yeah, the Modernization Act.
Literally making it legal for propaganda. So, I mean, it's legal for the government to lie to its people. So, I mean, just the fact that, the Obama administration repealed the act that, not to say that the government never lied before this. Right. It's different when they are breaking the law versus, it's totally legal to completely lie to your citizens. And there you go. Yeah, that's a good talking point to bring up whenever, you have one of these people, CNN people, trying to talk you out of believing in a conspiracy theory. It's like, well, look at this Smith-Mundt Act. It came out.
Smith-Mundt.
It's modernization. Was restricting propaganda.
Yeah.
And it was repealed to allow legally the government to lie to its people.
Right.
So what about that? How can you believe anything that comes from the government?
What's interesting too is that if Trump had an opportunity or has had an opportunity to reverse that, but he hasn't, because I think he's used it to his advantage in many different ways. And I think he's, because you can spin disinformation for what allegedly will be for a positive effect, right? That at least that's what the some of the pro-Trumpers will tell you.
Machiavellian Trump, the Machiavellian The Prince,
right?
Which is a favored book by every politician.
Yeah,
teaching you, the basics of you say whatever you need to say to get elected, and then you do whatever you have to do once you're there.
Positive propaganda.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what do you think on your timing, Guns? Do we want to save the rest for next show?
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to stop if we want to save it.
Wednesdays are going to have to be a little shorter, or we're just going to have to start earlier, Basil. I know that's...
We'll try our best. So, yeah, we'll just let everybody know that Wednesdays might end up being a little shorter unless we can figure some things out and start earlier. So keep that in mind. But thanks for being here, everybody. We're saving a couple stories for next show on Friday. We'll be back on Friday sometime between noon and 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're saving a story about the real story going on with TikTok and its attempted ongoing purchase dealings with Microsoft to take over the American, business end of that. And then there was some, of course, the new George Floyd body cam footage. We've got some breakdown and talking to do about that as well. So make sure to be back here on Friday. We'll be talking about that stuff sometime between noon and 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure to turn on notifications. Follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. If nothing else, you need it as a backup because, sometimes the notifications just don't get there through YouTube or wherever else you're looking for them.
Right.
I want to do a big old thank you to our producers. We couldn't do the show without you. We're on that value for value model, baby. Thank you, Blank. Thank you, Laura, Sierra, Penny. Thank you, New Two Box. Was that the name? New Two Box? Old Two Box.
Yeah.
Opposite.
Complete opposite.
Old Two Box. Thank you very much. And thank you to Allie. And thank you to, let's see, who else do we got?
Patrick is a monkey's wife? Question
yes. Mark. Thank you.
Jimmy,
Barbara,
Jesse.
Thank you for the art. Godspeed. Thank you for the comic book art. And as usual, big ol' thank you to That Night Wind for helping us out with timestamps. We're still waiting for clips to start showing up. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, William Steele, but okay. Make sure to head to canarycryradio.com/support to support us, help produce next show on Friday. You got PayPal options, cryptocurrency, all sorts of stuff there. Remember us at patreon.com/CCNT. It's the only way we can keep doing this show, and we are so grateful and also impressed by everybody jumping on, becoming a producer, taking ownership, taking control of their own media intake, and pull your own strings. Don't let advertisers pull your strings. When you become a producer of the show, you are pulling your own strings, baby. That's how we like it around here. And remember, you can create art and jingles, all sorts of fun stuff to help produce the show. Send that to canarycryradio@gmail.com. Also, remember to leave some ratings and reviews. We are so close to some cool big numbers on our ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts. We have not gotten any over the past couple of days. So please, out there, somebody, take 5 minutes, go leave a rating and a review. It helps out the show. It tells the algorithm robots to tell other people about the show. It's a very important thing. Okay, am I forgetting anything?
Nope, I think that's it.
Okay, now remember, you got friends, you got family, and they're all just waiting. They're just floating out there in the world, waiting for you to tell them about Canary Cry News Talk. Let them know if they're starting to wake up and they need a gentle guide down the narrow path. Let them know that Canary Cry News Talk is where it's at. Send them an episode. And if you need any more instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to them, you grab them by the cage, and then you what? You shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
Now
want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right, just ask Noah, everybody. Okay, we'll see you on Friday. Remember to tune in. Make sure those notifications are on. We will be talking about all sorts of stuff, and I'm sure enough will happen in the next couple days to fill out that show.
Yep.
But you want to show up. You want to be here. So make sure to tune in next time. But until then, everybody, think outside the cage.
I tried to tell you. Aliens. We will launch a new age. Stop this progress before it is too late.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
Canaries in a cage.
Cancel launching.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Bye, gold. Bye!
I want to shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Little guy. Little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo.
I'm for the robots.
I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo.
Science is truth.
You, yeah, you in my people's zoo.
It will kill.
I'll keep the cameras on in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on now in my people's zoo.
Aliens.
You, yeah, you in my people's zoo.
You can't handle the truth.
That was nice.
Look it up. Look it up.
I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo. I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you. You, yeah, you. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo.
Hallelujah.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.